Done.
If you see that picture on the screen, just know that tonight is going to be very special. Welcome to the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast, where we introduce you to your future favorite artists today. And today, I have a special MC that believes in substance and bar talk, not just somebody who raps. Because people who raps write fairy tales, but this man not only is not writing history, he's writing context and delivery. Before we get into today's show, make sure you like, comment, share this video. We want to hit the algorithm, so hit the like button because we want the world to know that we're here. All right? Heritage Hip Hop is here not only to give a voice to the people who are ignored by the mainstream, but to give you the opportunity to meet your future favorite artist today. Once again, the MC that we have on today is really about them bars and that context. So, without further ado, let's bring him on the screen. Bam. Introduce yourself to the people, sir.
Yo, what's good? BlaQ Chidori in this bitch, you know what I'm saying? Coming on to 757 every year, Virginia. You know, it's an honor to be up here.
Hey, man, it's a pleasure to get to talk to you. For those of y'all who don't know, Heritage Hip Hop is on all social media platforms. And when I was on X, formerly known as Twitter, I met this gentleman in a chat. Shout out to Hero. I think Hero had the chat, and we was talking about hip hop. We was talking about delivery. We was talking about what is good hip hop and what is not.
Right.
And this gentleman right here put me on not only one of his projects. I did my history on him, and I found a lot of great context in what he talks about. So let's get the people what they want. I don't start at the beginning. I start in the middle, pause, and then we work around. So let's start there. In context, how has hip hop helped groom you to talk to the world when the world teaches black men that we should be quiet?
That's a good question. That's a good question right there. You know, as far as, you know, as a so-called black individual and having that necessary role model that provides you with the enlightenment of the significance of having a voice within this world, as well as how to go about walking assertively and not so aggressively. A lot of that type of lesson, of course, comes from life and experience. I wouldn't say necessarily hip hop, but in many ways, a lot of what was incorporated into, you know, your childhood and your whole upbringing, that's going to play a part in your development. So, of course, with this culture of hip hop, it started out with that very objective to serve as that necessary role model of what the significance of having a voice is, what you could do with it, and how to, you know, utilize it in its best way. So I think just the core elements of hip hop in itself has always been about that. I mean, just look at the characterization and iconography of just a rapper conceptually speaking, right? You know, it's very flamboyant, it's very boisterous, you know what I'm saying? It's very bold, it's very assertive, sometimes aggressive. You got to put yourself out there, you know? And I feel like unless that lesson is just instilled in you, by your nature, because it's very certain. Like you go to a job, there's certain individuals that you go and see working at that job. It takes a specific type of character. It's kind of similar to the type of mathematics that people in the world operate on when it comes to a social dynamic. There's A like, B like, C like. So when it comes to who gravitates towards this type of culture, it's only going to be those types of individuals.
That's very profound, because I think we don't look at hip hop the way it should be, because we let people outside of our culture dictate what our culture is.
That's true as well.
I hate that. KRS-One just said that he didn't go to the Grammys because hip hop wasn't celebrated, the rapper was.
Right.
But if we look in context, the MC or the orator has been one of the most important aspects of our community, because even without the beat, Martin Luther King had a tribe, Malcolm X had a tribe. If you believe in Christ had a tribe. Right. As a person who's given the world his voice and his gift, how do you call your tribe, and how do you show your tribe your connectivity with them in what you say and what you do?
Okay. So how do I show my tribe, and how do I speak to my tribe? You're talking about those that I handpicked, or those just like me?
See, that's the catch-22 of being an MC, because you'll get people that's like you, and then you'll get people that didn't even know they were like you, or that y'all shared the same substance of thought. So how do you keep your voice connected to your tribe so then y'all move together?
I feel like the only way to really keep your voice connected to the people, and because especially when you're writing, like I consider lyricist scientists. You scientists, but when it comes to etymology, you're an etymological scientist, right? So when it comes to the mechanics of how you're using the etymology and all your other etymological applications, you know what your intent is when you're writing certain shit. And a lot of these artists, whether they'll admit it or not, they dumb down what they say, because they know only certain people are gonna get this type of talk. I'll be more accessible by talking like this in a way to where everyone gets it, versus some people that's like, I'm talking about this for the niggas that do this. They gonna know what I'm talking, things of that nature. So you know who you writing for. Very often, my pen, I have the people I'll have in mind will only be very high level connoisseurs, you know what I'm saying, as well as other lyricists. As like, all right, boom, they gonna peep what I just did with this technique kid, and then how I delivered it like that, how I stretched it like this pulls, you know what I'm saying, et cetera, et cetera. Like only they gonna really get it. So there will often be times where I try to consider, let me do it in a way to where it's not going to be impossible to get to, where it's so niche it's going to be impossible to get. And I think that really just comes from just having that natural talent, that being able to balance psychology and sociology, because people don't understand that about lyricists. You damn near a psychologist, a sociologist, a historian, a mathematician. You damn near every single thing, depending on what you're writing about, how you write it, how you apply it, et cetera, et cetera. But especially you working with psychology and sociology, when you're trying to know how to appeal, how to get your voice connected to this demographic, that demographic, this audience, that audience. That takes a lot of thought for you to be able to decipher how a person thinks, what's the degrees that they can be attuned with, so what frequency to operate upon, et cetera, et cetera. That takes a lot. That takes a lot.
I think BlaQ Chidori just said something that we're going to have to stand on. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast. We've now come to the Let's Build portion of the interview, which came very quick, because he said something very dynamic I want to touch on. Mm-hmm. On the Let's Build, we take what you said and we just build the whole conversation around that. And you talked about having a niche and connecting with people. Mm-hmm. The modern society has been dumbed down so much that people can't even have a conversation. They'd rather be on their phone.
Right.
How do you pull people away from the device and into themselves through conversation? And how hard is it now to be an MC with wordplay when people don't really pay attention? They rather just watch.
Well, you gotta consider it like this, right? We could take the character, or at least the iconography of, you know, Yeshua, right? When he had to go around delivering the word, because we talking about delivering words here. So when he had to go around delivering the word, he knew not everybody's, number one, not everybody's gonna get it. Number two, not everybody's meant to get it. Number three, whether they could get it or not, how many are then willing? That is totally irrelevant, because the ones who are willing and capable and who have that, capacity to be as receptive to the word, once you provide that food, they have the necessary body and metabolism to be able to both metabolize and digest that from whatever food you supplying. Those are the only mouths you should worry about feeding. Those are the only mouths you should worry about feeding. Because at the same time, you should do what's in your heart and what's true to you. Whatever level you're doing it on, it's that level for a reason. Only people of that level or caliber or higher are going to be able to resonate with that. So you shouldn't focus too much on trying to be so universally acceptable, like accessible. Would it help? Of course it would, in that it enlarging, your demographic in certain ways, but it really depends on what are you really doing it for at the end of the day. What are you doing this for? You know what I'm saying? Are you in here to create a legacy? Are you in here to obtain the notoriety and fame? Like what are you trying to do? You know?
And see, that's the point, because as an artist, you want to be appreciated for what you give birth to through your creative essence.
Right.
But as a orator, a speaker, a person who teaches or lectures,
Right.
rhymer, you are really doing this not only to be heard, but to leave a jewel so the world can grow with you.
Right.
Nowadays, we hear people say like today's hip hop music is so trash because nobody has bars anymore. Yet, as people try to control hip hop culture, the artists are getting younger and younger and younger and younger. And that's going to backfire on those people who did this, because now blueprints are going to be made for us to see the people grow real time with the microphone and become mature.
Right.
I ask you this question. As a person who's already seen and felt a certain level of maturity, how do you entice the youth to grow with you? How do you entice the elders to respect you, to allow you to be you, and to pay attention to what you said, not just listen to the beats?
Well, I actually find myself at a point in my career where I believe that I need to essentially not necessarily rebrand, but change my demographic, because my content isn't really for a younger crowd anyway. Though I do have a very considerable amount of younger audience members within, my niche and fan base and following, you know, and thus far them sticking with me, it gives them that opportunity to be then exposed to, topics in food that, whether they're at that level to then digest that or consume from that or not, at least it's then planting seeds and opening up their minds and introducing them to certain things that they might not have been introduced to before, let alone at that rate, let alone as consistently or as deeply and intimately, you know. So them sticking around, like I said, it gives them the opportunity to then be exposed to that. But it's not entirely like I present it in a way to where it ensures that they can get it or that they would open themselves up to it. It's kind of like I'm just like, this is what I know about, and like kind of like, yo, if you know, you know. Like if you know the talk, you know the talk. You know what I'm saying?
Or I think my last question on this Let's Build session will be this. Everybody always asks, do you want to be heard or do you want to be listened to, right? And I've asked that question before. But see, when you have lyrics, right, and you have subject matter that can go over a person's head or through someone's brain, I have to ask you this. What impresses you the most about your audience that you keep serving them, even though you know the world will fight against the type of music that you make?
Well, what what I like is that they're so supportive, and it's the fact that they cling on to something that at its core isn't even really for them. And that's what honestly impresses me the most. Like it'll be like I'll make something and I'll be like, yeah, I know this is hot. I know that people would listen to this, but it's not like that's what I'm making it for, you know. Because what I'm doing is a very personal agenda, you know, and it's kind of like what I said on Off Top 3 on my song Stockholm Syndrome. But the chorus, I say I'm in love with this, even if it ain't good to me. I'm in love with this, even if she ain't good for me. I could run out of fans, even family, even money. If I can't make $1, I'm gonna do it for free because I'm in love with this, even if it ain't good to me. So it's a very, personal relationship I have with this art and exactly what I'm doing with it. And what I'm doing with it is more so just, you know, relieving the vice, but how I'm doing it is something that is even more, you know, high level because of how I operate within my life. Trying to ensure I operate within God body and within a very high frequency. So of course, through my music and through the art, it's going to be very reflective. That's why you will see a lot of that esoteric content that's been in there, and you will see a lot of that food that's in there. But it's not like intentionally I'm trying to teach people, because not every time I'm a teacher. Sometimes I'm just as lost. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I'm just as much seeking knowledge, and it is more so like I really act as a medium to where both with how I operate within my life, with even in my life, I'm told that I could be a teacher, that I'm a teacher and whatnot. It's not even like I'm trying to, it's just that is just what I then allowed to work through me. And of course, it's reflective through the craft as well.
I like how you said that. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like that portion of the Heritage Hip Hop podcast interview, that's the Let's Build portion. We have some people joining us today on YouTube, on Facebook, and now on Instagram. Everybody hit the like button. Let me know that you're here. Drop some comments and let's talk to this young man. Comment on what you heard and let us know if you agree or disagree. If you got beats, let's talk to this man. What's up? Shout out to Ernie Mac.
Oh
LFG
yeah,
BlaQ.
that's my man. That's my
All
man.
right. Well,
Ernie.
thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. You know what I
Man,
mean? But
he out of Texas.
out of Texas, shout out to the Lone Star State. Peace.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I like how you put that. We're gonna come off the Let's Build portion of the show because we gave some of them something to think about. But let's talk about you. When did you figure out you were hip hop, and when did you want to pick up the pen?
Growing up, I grew up anytime I was with my father, of course, is when I'd be introduced to hip hop. And the type of hip hop I grew up on was, the Dat Piff era of music, like street mixtapes. Like I got the the Heist of the Century by Lotta Dog Man. I got that on the little CD where it's not even the official CD. It's you know what I'm saying? Like we burned it off onto that CD. Like I come from that era, and that was the type of music I was listening to throughout that era was things of that nature. So I'm growing up listening to Dipset, Lloyd Banks, You know what I'm saying? A lot of Dark Man, Willie the Kid, OJ the Juice, Chubby Baby, Shice Bubs. Like I'm the Max B. I'm listening to things of that nature. So they already had me like, yo, like this is hard, this is fire. I like this. I like that type of talk. Like it already got me a fan of hip hop. Then and Cameron especially was who made me a fan of hip hop. So that's what gave me that love for it. But what made me want to start, like, just MCing, it comes from the amalgamation of certain life experiences, being around people and hearing them and seeing them freestyle, to watching a King Los freestyle that went crazy, to seeing Mickey Fax versus Styles P. And I'm like, yo, number one, what these people is doing with words is so creative and so clever. I feel I'm capable of that, especially capable of then invoking such a stretch of an imagination and to be so thought provoking with the words, to invoke certain reactions like that, to where you have people going crazy over what you're saying. I feel like I could do that too. Like, and I want to do that too. And just that drive then led me into just, picking up that pen, picking up that microphone, and trying to take being an MC very seriously. And I was like 13 when I really first started. And then after that, it just became like a, self-sustaining obsession where it's just, I don't believe I'm going to stop. I just like doing this.
Yo,
Yeah.
I like that you said that, because you know what? Everybody always asks, "What's the first rhyme you wrote?" Or what this? I don't really care about that, because of the kind of context of what you rhyme in. Who was the first MC that changed your life, and who was the first MC that changed how you wrote?
All right. So the first MC to change how I wrote was Mickey Fax, because of what he was doing with schemes, him being a battle rapper or being of that battle rap background. And then the first MC that changed my life, like as far as like hearing a song and it just flips your whole world upside down and changes your whole ideology and philosophy, how you operate, all of that, it have to be Nature of the Threat by Razzcast. I remember I got suspended from school and I got sent home, and my father was talking to me about, perpetuating stereotypes and whatnot. And then he was like, while you sitting there on that couch, I want you to play this song and I want you to write down every single thing you hear in the song. Like every topic that he talks about, every date he mentions, any book he mentions, even if it just sounds like it's something, but it might not be nothing, write it down. And then you go and research all of that. You know what I'm saying? And that song right there, like, yeah, it definitely changed my life.
Yeah, I feel you, because as a young man, the one rapper that changed my life was Chuck D. And nobody would give Chuck D credit as being a lyricist or whatever. But if you look at the manner in which he spoke to the hearts of young men in a way, or hip hop in general, as a way where you were held accountable for your own image. You know what I'm saying? Tupac said Marvin Gaye used to sing to me, tell me being black was the thing to be. Chuck D gave us Fight the Power and things like that. And he made us check, he made you check yourself. I mean, the whole Public Enemy emblem was a B-boy or Run from Run DMC getting shot at in the scopes of society, which is very profound. And I realize, listening to your music, you're going to be one of the people that changes somebody's life if they take content serious. What's one of the songs that you created that somebody had to sit down and talk to you about because it affected them that much? That's when you know you're on Heritage Hip Hop, ladies and gentlemen, because you think about your answers on here.
A song that somebody said that really made them think. Now, I've had songs that I've been told that really touched people because of how much they related to it, like certain songs like Britney Spears or Tom Hanks, right? But a song that someone heard it and they was like, nah, hold the fuck up. Like, this nigga was talking about this and that, and it made me learn some whole new shit. I've had a couple songs like that. Because, of course, when you have enough people listening to your music to where you don't know how much they know or what they really know, you could say some shit that they never fucking heard of before ever, or anything like that. And I've been told certain songs were like that. The songs that I could definitely say were intended to be food and things of that nature, I would definitely have to say songs like, Jesus Christ, White Savior, Niggas to Gods, which actually Niggas to Gods is one of them songs to answer that question. Niggas to Gods by me and Patty Ancho, off of the first White Melodies, is one of them songs. But there's been a couple different joints that was really meant to serve as food.
It's hard to give babies physical food, and it's hard to give elders what we call milk or liquid food to digest, because the mind states are in two different places, which goes back to one of my original questions that you answered before, but I want to give more context to it. How do you keep the balance so that they always come back for the message and not get lost in the music?
Because this is my thing. I've accepted that I'm going to be very over their head regardless that I've accepted that. So what I'll do is I'll see how much the average person would actually get or pick up versus how much like a real connoisseur or lyricist is going to pick up with what I reference or do or whatever. But there'll be certain times where I could find myself getting carried away, and I'm like, all right, let me dumb it down to like this, so that way they'll understand it. Because if I just went this way with it, so it'll be like a certain reference, I'll find a way to reference it a simpler way rather than how elaborately I was going to do it. So where this way, boom, it still hits them and whatnot. At the very same time, I enjoy being more of a conversationalist than just trying to, punch you the whole time. Kind of similar to Jay-Z. He's very much a conversationalist in his approach to it. At the same time, I'm still staying as elaborate with the technical lyricism, and I'm checking every box that I can. But at the same time, I'm being a conversationalist. Like, I'm going to ask you a question, and then I'm going to paint the perspective, empathize with personal perceptions, and then answer the question with a point and make a point with it and shit like that. So it's kind of like I'm sitting there, I'm talking to you, I'm like walk with me type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what I like to do, because I notice whenever I'll do it like that, those be the songs that people really be like, nah, like this is the joint that was like mad, like, conscientious, and it made me think and things of that nature.
So then you describe yourself as an artiste. You are a painter.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'll definitely say that.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for joining us. Since he's a painter, we're going to talk about this picture right here when we come back. So everybody, stay tuned, and we'll be back with more on the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast.
Hey, Redman is in the building, of course. Jersey's finest, all about them bars, marijuana smoker. Hey, PSA announcement. I need everybody go support. That's right, support my fucking state, my city. Heritage Hip Hop, a New Jersey media source that celebrates New Jersey hip hop worldwide. Facts. And we are celebrating our legends right here, Jersey, baby. Please subscribe to Heritage Hip Hop on social media. That is Heritage Hip Hop on social media. Jersey, you know I love you. Jersey, you know we got bars and we got music and we got legends all day. And if you believe in Jersey and you love Jersey like I do, support that Heritage Hip Hop on all social media platforms. This is Redman, and I approve this message.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Because like I said, we got OGs telling you who we are. Look, you see that right there? We'll talk about that later. But Heritage Hip Hop is proud to present BlaQ Chidori to the world for those who do not know him. Before I go into the next part of the interview, I'm going to say, when anybody is Heritage Hip Hop certified, I put my name on their music. And I came across, he actually sent me this right here. And we talked about being an artist and a painter. Describe what's in that picture before we go into this project.
Well, this is actually something that I made myself, and it's one of the few pieces that I didn't necessarily flip, but made from scratch. So what I did was I found I forget the man's name, but it was a famous Klansman that a photographer met while in New York, and this was a photographer who was kind of he was some indie photographer, kind of popular around the I want to say late '90s, kind of late '90s or maybe the '80s, something like that. But he found this photo here of well, no, he didn't find the photo, but he found that Klansman. He met him in New York. I want to say somewhere near Brooklyn or somewhere close to upstate. And, he was like, yo, let me just take your photo. So, boom, they went to a little blank room, dark room. They took that photo shoot there. What I did was I took that photo and I flipped it because I wanted something that would be like, yo, what would be like a crazy ass cover that's very eye catching that makes someone have to double take and really want to stare at it long, or also kind of sort of being controversial, but like also like enough to make a statement. So I was like, basically, let me find a Klansman and just essentially niggify him. A lot of people don't notice, but if you look closely at the necklaces, the three necklaces, those are very distinct. Those are very distinct. One of them, you got Frederick Douglass on the necklace. Another one, you got Harriet Tubman on the pendant. And then another is blocked by the Frederick Douglass and Harriet Tubman one, but it's actually a slave hanging from a noose as his medallion on his chain. There's irony there that he hangs from a chain and he was a slave. A slave was someone who gets hung and was in chains. You see what I'm saying? So, yo, shout out my man Justin. Let's talk beats. And so, and then of course, Bathing Nape, that's kind of like my whole brand. It's kind of my brand. I love Bathing Nape. But also the grooves in it, represents flows, rivers, streams, land, things of that nature. The blood red color, there's a lot of symbolism, esoteric or not. There's a lot of symbolism that's within the image. You got the Klansman burning the cross in the back. You got the black man holding the gun to the Klansman head, which that song "Bow to the Man" was actually my title. I took that from what's on the cover. Got the little Aphrodite and the children in the back, all of that. It gives sort of a certain abstractness to it, but also enough coherency to where a person kind of gets what point or messages may be there without getting too lost in all the elaborate abstract shit that's all over there.
Yeah, that's fire because I personally love art. So album covers always mean something to me personally. And when I saw that album cover, first thing foremost, I'm like, why is the Klansman in orange with chains on? I didn't see the hand with the gun at first.
Right.
So what I saw the cross, and I said, all right, the burning cross is cleansing. I get that. Then I saw the moon, which is feminine energy, but the moon is also for times and for seasons. Then you got the white women and the children, right?
Right.
And if y'all know, the god of white supremacy is the white woman. The man is the overseer, but he does it for his woman, so that they're not taken. And when I saw the gun to the man's head, I was like, okay, I get it. It's like a juxtaposition of who's really in power.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I was like, okay, this album's going to be very profound. And you had certain songs on the White Melodies album, which is out right now on all streaming platforms. But Heritage Hip Hop does not believe in streaming. Go buy the album. I got mine. Go get yours too, please.
Yes, please.
You talked about Bow to the Man. I want to talk about Nicole Kidman.
Okay.
Talk about that song. And what was the context of that song, and where were you going with that one?
So with White Melodies, of course, it's got a socio-political commentary, but it's also a very satirical take on America, white America, black culture, as well as pop culture. So I wanted all things that kind of relate to the concept of whiteness and whiteness as a whole, right? One of those things is pop culture, and I'm like, okay, what's a very popular white actress that just is like we talking from Meryl Streep and up or slightly below type shit. I'm like, all right, Nicole Kidman comes to mind. But while I'm writing it, it's like I can't just randomly name the song Nicole Kidman. I'm just giving you bars the whole time. What can I do to where it plays into the themes of Nicole Kidman? So that's when the first line came to mind. I was chasing that white bitch stuck in my opticals. I acted wild because I knew to get it back, that Mission Impossible. And I was like, all right, boom. That's the Tom Cruise shit where the nigga was flipping out on Oprah and all that shit. And that was around that time that he got left by Nicole. So I was like, all right, boom, that's Tom Cruise. Who else was she with? Lenny Kravitz. Now, boom, Nicole Kidman with Lenny Kravitz. I'm like, I could play into the effects and socio-political takes and perspective on white women that go for black men, especially after they leave their white men. So that's when, I got certain lines that kind of play into that, certain racial tropes and certain takes and things of that nature. And then what they could lead to then other societal takes and what they could lead to, from mass incarceration to being put in the wrong situations, you know what I'm saying? Where your value might actually be at versus where it could be at, etc. Like all things of that nature being brushed upon with that song Nicole Kidman. You know what I'm saying? And the whole time, like, these are things that can happen. You won't rock with them white women. These are things that can come from that, or that, that type of world opens up or invites and things of that nature. This is how it can end up. You know what I'm saying? But you want you a Nicole Kidman, And then at the same time relating certain other, themes to my own life and experiences, while all just being able to scheme on Nicole Kidman, but using her in the allegorical sense.
Being that the Caucasian female is the goddess of white supremacy, look at the stories we have of Nate Parker or Jonathan Majors now, or even the murder of Emmett Till and so many other men who did or did not even dabble until crossing the lines of that religious belief. That subject on White Melodies was one of the strongest subjects on that album because it goes to the heart of a person's fear and a person's ability to survive. Hip hop has the same effect on people. Why do you think hip hop brings so much fear to people and causes a lot of people to fight for survival in it as well?
Well, in some senses, the music can perpetuate it because you got certain songs that literally are violent. You got some songs that speak about violence, not necessarily speaking violence, but just speaking about violence, And then you got certain demographics and then industrial narratives that kind of push or endorse, the literal violent genres and shit like that. So certain things we do portray that or help paint that image, but I feel like that mostly comes from just everyone's, fear of just anything black. I mean, they've even weaponized the etymology of black to be able to instill fear just from the side of something black, what themes they attribute to black, what blackness is. It's like, oh, cursed. You think cursed, you think black magic, and then when you think black magic, you for whatever reason think evil. Like anything black is just evilness, darkness, it's this, is that, when all time it's not meant to be some scary shit, at least in a fearful, scary way.
Interesting. I don't want to delve too deep onto that album. I think we gave some time to it, but I want to ask you this. If that is the truth as you see it, what is your opinion on why these artists don't talk about the truth in their music and they rather hide behind the lie and give the people what they need?
I mean, at the end of the day, make what you want to make and what you feel in your heart to make. You know, it's just number one, I'm only talking about what I know. And I'm only talking about something how I want to talk about something. Because nowadays, especially, I make music for me. So it's not even like I'm always intentionally trying to teach somebody or something like that. It's just, this is what I want to say. This is what I got to say. Like, this is what this specific time and space that I'm using to do this is invoking. And that's the Divine Channel. Right? You know what I'm saying? There's that, and then it's like, yeah, nah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really, it's mostly like I be making music for me the whole time. You know, like, so I don't mind people that don't want to do that. There's people that could do that. There's people that know it and could do that, but instead do something else. But that's their own prerogative. At the end of the day, again, it's about what are you really doing this for? They could be doing something to where authenticity and all that and, you know, integrity and all that is irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? You know?
So you tell everybody, fuck your feelings. We don't give a fuck.
Right. You know
I'm gonna say what I want because we don't give a fuck. Talk about it. Fuck. Talk about that. That's my joint, yo. By the way.
Yeah, that was kind of a crazy one when Bardo hit me with that. I remember it was kind of one of the earlier songs we had did, and I was just like, you know, going through the little beat packs that he was sending me and whatnot. Like, you know, there was like the first time there was like 12 joints he sent. You know, I was going through them, and then one of them I heard, and I was like, hey, yo, hold on, why does sound so familiar?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh shit, this that Apollo kids off Supreme Clientele.
That's
And I was
Dex
like,
beat.
yeah, and then that's that song too. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this joint because I love Wu Tang and I fucking love Ghostface Killer. That's my number one. Next to Cameron, that's my number one. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, yeah, let me get this joint right here. And just the moment I heard it, that chorus is just what popped into mind. That fuck your feelings, bitch. I'ma say what I want. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole thing, that's just what came to mind. But after I said fuck your feelings, bitch, I'ma say what I want because we don't give a fuck. I was like, let me talk about not giving a fuck. The whole time, I didn't even mean to take it that direction to where I just started preaching the whole song because that song is probably the most conscious song on there, like the deepest song on there. Like where I was saying some shit on there. You know, it went from me just paying homage to Ghostface with the opening lines where I referenced his whole discography, you know what I'm saying, from 2 albums, 5 features, and some mixtapes, like all types of joints where I was scheming, name flipping his whole discography and songs he had and was on, to then me then talking about like nigga moments and how that can come from that whole I don't give a fuck mentality. What can end up happening just from you just saying some shit and instigating some shit to then this happens, and imagine you on some I don't give a fuck shit, then boom, this happens, that happens. Like from this scenario to that scenario, from jail to dying in the streets, the hood beef to this to that, and it's not even like I intended to go like that. That's just like the direction it just started taking me. Like I just said one bar and it led to me telling the whole story off of that. You know?
That's deep because that goes into being an MC. We're actually now, ladies and gentlemen, talk about the At Your Neck project, which is out right now. BlaQ Chidori. What's your man name? Who did it with you? Barto.
Barto
100. Salute to Barto 100.
Yeah, right out of Canada.
Yeah, salute. Because you took the idea of a song and flipped it to make something else, which is an MC, right?
Right.
I'm gonna tell you some real deep shit. You know who one of my favorite MCs is of all time? Of course you don't. I'm gonna tell you. Smokey Robinson.
Mm.
Remember the song Tears of a Clown?
Yeah.
You know what that song's about?
What?
Murder. People think it was about a guy who's in love with a girl or something, and he's a fool. He's hiding his emotions. It's about a murderer. The song's actually based off of a movie where the guy kills his actress wife. And if you think about that, you think about the lyrics, if it's a smile on my face, it's there just to fool the public. You know what I'm saying? Now you start to think about it a different way. And sometimes with an MC, they could put something into your mind that could flip your mind inside out to give you something different. One thing that you did to flip on people is the difference between white melodies and this album at your neck is the versatility. Beat selection, whether you did Griselda sound, you did Wu-Tang sound, you did boom bap sound, you even did some laid back stick like Pimpin' Pin. I like that too. You actually wanted to show versatility to show the world that you are more complete than just somebody who rhymes. Why do you think completion is the part of MC-ship that most people forget to talk about?
Most people don't have the understanding of the significance of completion in relation to being an MC, right? Because if you understand a circle to be representative of completion, then you know a circle is a cycle, and a cycle is also a cipher. And within the cipher, you find verses. So, if we talk in verses, whether it's a you and I verse, or if we talk in verses and it's a verse you lay down on the track, we're talking a cipher, as in, your circle of life, or a cipher, as in a congregation of verses, which even your own esoteric cipher is a literal series of verses. And if you understand that, circles is all about completion. That's the difference between a point and a circle is completion, So I feel if you have that necessary amount of wisdom on that, then you're going to know it's going to be incorporated into that world of being an MC on damn near every aspect and dimension.
It's funny you bring up dimensions because, like, people love Jigga, right? Jay-Z is the man. But Jay-Z talks about hustling in so many dimensions that he's going to grab your ear or grab your romanticized mind of being the hustler himself through his delivery. Your delivery is very offshoot. It's not monotonous. It goes here, 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 here. And I notice your delivery changes through the titles of your music. It's like you embody some of the titles in your music. One of my favorite songs you did was Vishuddha. Talk about the Vishuddha and why that was important and how you delivered that message of it in the context of the song.
So this was kind of, I think, still during the early process of the development of the album. But by then, based off the titles of the songs, I kind of got the point that I think we're going to stick with either sharp object or neck theme here. And so I'm like, boom, I got this song with Raz Fresco, known 5%er. So I'm like, this is how it's going to have to be a thought-provoking and deep song. It's going to have to be a very spiritually enlightened song. So if this song is going to be something that gives you spiritual food, I'm like, what could be something in correlation to a neck while falling in lines with what we going to provide with this track? So I was like, boom, the neck chakra. And then what the neck chakra, unlocks what that does as far as knowledge and wisdom and power. So like, boom, like this fits right here,
Yeah, man. I mean, we have so many people now who are looking into the stars, the skies, the gods, the parchments, even smoking bushes to get enlightened. That when we get somebody who brings you something deep or profound, it makes you appreciate songs more. Because it's easy to just rap.
Right.
Some people think it's easy to bar, but it's not easy to build context and conception within writing. And like two of my favorite tracks on the album, because I mean, you have some good stuff on your album, yo. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like At Your Neck is nice, Gillette is nice, Spreewell is nice. I kind of want to focus on the different rhyme patterns and who you are as an MC through two different deliveries you have. Tell me about the you on Spreewell. Where shout out to Patty Honcho and JR. You're actually sparring with other MCs, but then Tungsten Needle is a fuck of a way to end the project, yo. That's a highlight. Talk about that and why you wanted to deliver that way on both of them songs.
Well, Spreewell, you know, originally it was just a song with me and JR. So when I wrote it, JR was really the only one I could have had in mind, you know. But I certainly, anytime you're doing a track with niggas that's like, you know, mad nice, you know you don't have to step up to a certain level. You like, I gotta take this track man serious. So I'm like, all right, let me, you know what I'm saying, let me do me, but I'm gonna make sure I, you know, stand up amongst the track. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, that beat, it was very simple, very stagnant enough to where it provided a lot of room to, you know, create your own pacing and exactly what you're trying to do as far as a track like Spreewell. But a track like Tungsten Needle, that I like that beat. Just the moment I heard that beat, the way it started out, it just sounded like a movie. Like it sounded like the act, like the high peak of a movie scene, and I was just wanting to deliver that type of energy, while at the same time talk about something with substance as well. You know, to where like I'm saying things that make sense, and I'm saying things that is like some real shit, while still, you know, giving you them schemes and them balls, and you know, still providing that braggadocio as well, to where it just has just that good balance, like Busta Rhymes said, the balance of, you know, you got food and medicine.
Facts. See, sometimes it's hard to interview people because you could talk about music so much that if people haven't gotten the album, it's hard for them to pick up on the conversation. So at this time, I want you to stand in your square. Talk your shit and tell people why they should get your album, check your music, and what you had to give to the world. You ready for that?
You know,
all right, well, go. Give it to them.
This the thing. You could tell somebody about the best burgers, you know, if they not hip to the significance and the niche and the culture and, you know, the level of that burger, if they not as hip to that joint, then, you know, number one can't blame them. Then number two, at the same time, it's like, you know they missing out. But at the same time, this the thing. Because I can't tell nobody, you know, what to do. What I can say, though, is you looking for niggas, the type of shit that niggas describe such a demand for, and then who they attribute to them roles don't be making much sense to me. Cause I'm like, yeah, they do this and then they do that. But how many niggas do just about everything? You looking for niggas that really embody hip hop. You talking versatility, and then on top of versatility, still maintaining the same amount of performance and level and degrees that you see only with serious MCs. Like how many niggas is still operating on like a, you know, a Nas level of lyricism and on still doing something commercial or as different as trap or even some R&B shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's not a nigga I know as creatively dominant, to my knowledge, as me and what I provide, you know? And that's what I can say. If you looking for niggas like that, then you really only gonna find that here.
Enough said. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for joining us on the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast. But we're not done, and we're not going to let him get off the hook that easy. It's now time for the rapid fire questions. You ready to play this game with me?
Nah,
the rapid fire questions are not yes, no questions. These are questions designed to show you the depth of character, knowledge, and perception of the artist that we have on today's show. So let's get to business. Question number one. What's the perfect hip hop beat? Meaning, if that person ever came out with it, it would have been your beat and your first single.
The perfect hip hop beat. I'd have to say that shit Robes. I think it was made by Madlib for Freddie Gibbs. That'd be right there.
Oh, you gonna do something on that?
I've recorded a freestyle over that song before.
I need that. I need that.
It's on one of my older projects called The Holy Blackness Volume 2.
There y'all go. See, more music, more music. All right, question number 2. What's more important to you, the bass line or the melody, and why?
I mean, the bass line, objectively, because that would more so be the foundation of the song. And then at the same time, you can really create your own melody on songs as well, depending on the pockets that you then find. You know, it could be a song that doesn't have as prominent of a melody, and you fill up that pocket once you find one to then provide that, you know, and it's a song just with a stronger bass line versus a song with no bass line. I haven't heard a song that you can make without that type of foundation. Like all songs, to my knowledge, have a bass line.
Okay. Hate produce hate, which produce art. What produces the best art to you, pain or pleasure?
That would entirely depend on that individual and what their strong suits are. You know, I'd say if you're a conversationalist, then how you express that pain, you might, you know, project that a little better, more articulately than you would something about pleasure, you know. But again, it would depend on the individual.
Okay. I respect that. You've been in the studio and have worked with artists that are very well known. How do you give an advice to independent upcoming artists? How do you instruct them to not get starstruck and make their presence known on a song so that even those veterans have to bow down to the talent that you have?
Well, number one, that's for you to stand out and compete with them, let alone do better than them on the song. That's going to depend on your own innate talent as well as how much skill you have. As far as not getting starstruck, what you got to understand is number one, when it comes to business, it's business before pleasure, first and foremost. Like, whenever you conduct the business with these artists to get them on songs, number one, that just getting them on them songs is not going to guarantee you nothing. You know, that's first and foremost. That, and then number two, that song is only going to go as far as you take it. You can't just go off of the nepotism of that name alone and expect to get famous off of that. You know, that's not how it's going to work, and that's not going to happen. And then that's if they're even advertising it to that degree, let alone at all. You know, these niggas is not your friends unless they are. You know, I think you should focus on networking. You know, but at the same time, money definitely talks. So, like, you know, I'm sure whatever price you're talking, you could get just about anyone on a song. So, me personally, as far as why I went and did what I did, it was more so a competitive thing where I'm like, I fuck with these niggas. I fuck with what they do, or I grew up listening to these niggas and what they do. I want to go against them, like see how I fare up with them on the track, you know, and we just do it like that, some back and forth, you know.
What's your favorite era in hip hop, and do you think you're in the right era?
My favorite era personally, it's the one I grew up listening to, which would be from 9-6 to like the mixtape era of like early 2000s, like Smack DVD type era. So, as far as the second question, I believe alchemically speaking, where I'm where I'm at for a reason. Like, if I was meant to be in another era, then I would have been in another era. I'm in this era, I mean, because I'm meant to be in this era. You know, there's a lot of advantages to being in this era as well. You know, so I'm content where I'm at.
I think that's an interesting question though, because hip hop is only 50 years old
Right.
and is relatively young, but it has so many eras already. Especially because the youth is what pushes the culture, specifically mainstream wise as well. If you could preserve hip hop in a way, how would you do it? Like, how would you preserve the hip hop that you love the most? Or what aspect of hip hop do you love the most that you would like to preserve?
Well, as far as how would I help preserve hip hop, would be by making timeless art. And what part of hip hop would I like to preserve the most? I would like to say the core foundations and cultural nuances of it, which that can only be kept up once, you know, the right people start gatekeeping the right way. Because as far as the accessibility is had right now, or at least that is perpetuated, you know, you got certain people from outside that's not even from this that feel their opinion overrides, you know, the foundations and traditions here, and to a point to where other people is then trying to impose that and enforce them narratives and made up laws that's like that didn't even come from, like, you know what I'm saying? It's totally contradictory to the core traditions and foundations of what we've been doing here. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then the wrong niggas policing it, and all types of bullshit. Like the politics of hip hop and in the modern age, like we like that doesn't come from us in this, you know.
All right, I'm with that. I'm with that. So then let's preserve hip hop. What's your dream collaboration? Who does the beats and who's on the song with you?
Dream collaboration. I got a list of people that I really want to work with.
Make one song and pick one person to do the beat. Who you got?
Let me get Alchemist, and let me get Alchemist, and let me get Tierra Whack. I really want to work with Tierra Whack.
Okay.
I like her.
Salute to you for shouting out a female like that. That's dope. I like that.
I like her.
That shows equality and gravitas in your talent.
No, she mad nice. She mad nice.
She is. Let's make this full circle. You say you're from Virginia, and Virginia has been a hotbed of hip hop that people don't know whether they count it as North or South. It's just Virginia, right?
Mm-hmm.
What important part of hip hop did Virginia bring to the table? And how do we preserve and give Virginia the respect it deserves?
Well, of course, I mean, Virginia is famous for, you got Missy Elliott, Timberland, you know, you got the Clips, you got, you know, Neptunes, you know, you got artists like that that really helped push the culture during a time where it needed that step in evolution. You know, as far as the sounds that Pharrell brought, the create the imagery and creativity and marketing that Missy Elliott and Timbaland brought, the type of sounds and direction that Timbaland helped usher in as well. You know, and then you look at the type of impact that Pharrell, Neptunes, and even the Clips has had and has spread, you know, it has, you know, upkept throughout the culture thus far. You know, they Missy Elliott, I think it was her, just recently had a whole street built and named after her. You know, so you got to give them their props for that.
But we also have new talent like yourself as well. So part of me asking that question is because, ladies and gentlemen, hip hop comes from everywhere. Hip hop is universal. It could come from the north, the south, the east, the west, anywhere you look, overseas or whatever. All hip hop is God's expression that God gave us. And if you do hip hop correctly from your heart, not only will you bring people and gravitate them to who you are, but you give the world the opportunity to give them a chance to share their gift as well. How'd you like being on the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast? Give me a drop. What you think about it?
No, so I'm gonna be up here. Like, this definitely was a different type of interview. Like, the type of questions that you asked definitely really make you have to, think and reflect. Now, some of this I'm gonna still meditate on too.
All right, and that's what we do. So we've come to the final question of the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment. We are on Instagram. We are on YouTube. Please subscribe to that YouTube page. Hit the bell. We are on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, X, which is formerly known as Twitter. We are on every social media and heritagehiphop.com, the home of all this great content. You can also stream this on Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, wherever you stream your podcast, we are there. And I want to give a special shout out for my gift right here. Christina Deja Vu, 101, made this. I will put her link in the description on YouTube. So if you want to get a blanket with your picture, a loved one's picture, even your company logo, you hit her up because that's my new backdrop. Salute to sis for making that for me. So it's time for our last question. I'm having a little conversation in the back. You know how that go. It's time for the last question. You ready? You ready to go for the last question, bro?
Yeah.
Here we go, man. Salute to you. Thank you for being on the show. I want to honor you with giving you the question I always ask to every artist on the first interview, which means when you come back, you're going to have different questions. So if you're ready, whenever you want to return, you got an open door policy. As long as you make good music that I like, the door is always open, all right?
But
So the most important question I'm going to ask you in the first interview is this. 500 years from now in the Hip Hop Hall of Fame, Hip Hop Museum, somebody's going to go to the Virginia wing of hip hop and BlaQ Chidori is going to be there. And somebody's going to push a red button. Your hologram is going to pop off the wall and they're going to hear your music and see you perform. The most important question is, for people to listen to you 500 years in the future, what is the legacy you leave behind? And how did you make hip hop better because you made and lived hip hop culture?
that's exactly how I would make hip hop better. The fact that I made and lived hip hop culture. Matter of fact, more than that, the fact that my whole entire motive and direction as BlaQ Chidori is to embody hip hop culture, both in its core, its traditional values, as well as its sound. From sounds that no longer are here anymore, sounds that were stripped and taken away, sounds that got oversaturated, sounds that is being lost to time. Like, I'm just maintaining it to its core, being both a true student and master of the whole game and culture and rap and hip hop and spirit and nature of it as a whole.
With that being said, everybody, let that be a lesson to you that being true is really hip hop by itself. Whether you're true to yourself in rhymes, fashion, beats, dancing, vernacular, speaking your slang, or representing where you from, you are automatically hip hop, and you give God the glory by being the true you. God said, it's written in the holy book that you are a light, and you are not made to hide under a bush. You are made to sit on the top of a lighthouse, so all people can see the glory of God through you. Talent, wisdom, art, culture, and most importantly, your knowledge of self. So with that being said, thank you once again, BlaQ Chidori, for coming on the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast. This is Karev of Heritage Hip Hop saying, without a doubt, thank you for watching. Peace. And we out.